friends, and welcome to another episode of your Bish Therapist podcast. And today I am so happy to have my friend and yours back to the podcast. You know her from Pink Shade Podcast. Please welcome Mary Payne to the show. Hi, Mary Payne.
Hello. How are you, Melissa? It's good to see you as always.
Yes, it's always good to see you. For the people who are watching the video, I love your background. I love the wallpaper. You and I have similar taste in things. And so my background is some floral wallpaper, but yours is just gorgeous. So
thank you. I will tell you that one time I was on Watch What Happens Live as like a call-in person, and Andy stopped me before my question and said, "Tell me about your wallpaper."
That's amazing.
I know. And so I'm friends with John Hill. So I later texted John Hill, like, here's the wallpaper. Because at the time I was like, I can't, who could remember the name? I was like, I think it's Tybalt. I couldn't remember. But I found it. It's John Hill. Has Andy come and put it in his new house? Unclear. And then, then I interviewed Ross Matthews this week because he is the host of 90 Day Single Life coming up.
Right.
And he said he liked my wallpaper, and he asked to also be put in my bio as I have it on my Instagram bio. Bravo, Andy likes my wallpaper. And now he has to be added. So now my Instagram bio says Bravo, Andy, and Hello, Ross like my wallpaper.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, that's fair because it's fabulous and they have taste. What can I say? They have taste.
I love it too. I really want to get like a little pink, like 2 chairs or a couch over here, but the couch from Home Goods is just going to have to do for now.
Well, you know, that's always what I say. I would love to zhuzh up my podcast space, but you girls got to be making a little more money before we do that. So
yeah, I mean, the Home Goods couch is good for now.
Yeah, for now it's fine. That's exactly right. So for those of you who don't know, I was just on Mary Payne's podcast just a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, 2 weeks, I think.
I feel like time flies as I become an adult. I'm like, was that yesterday or was that 2 months ago? I don't remember. So yeah, we had quite a kiki when I was on your podcast. And so today, what we are here to talk about, we're going to talk about some breaking Bravo news that came from the upfronts. We're going to talk about the Valley. We're going to talk about Real Housewives of Rhode Island. But first, what we're going to start with is something from the 90 Day Fiancé world, because for those of you who don't know, Mary Payne, you do Bravo. You cover it basically once a week, but most of what you do is covering the 90-day stuff, correct?
Yeah, I'm heavy on the TLC, 90 Day Fiancé, Welcome to Plathville, and on Mondays we do Love After Lockup, which is not TLC, but it's Matt Sharp as well. We call it Mugshot Monday, and then Ladies of London was on. We switched it to Monarch Monday. So yeah, but I'm very heavy involved in the 90 Day TLC world. Yes,
which I always admire because here's the thing: I am fascinated. Like I'm a fan of the 90 Day stuff. There's definitely seasons that I've watched. There's iterations that I've watched, but for me, I just cannot keep up because it is so much. There's like 1 million offshoots from the 90 Day, and you were just telling me your schedule when you watch this stuff is just absolutely out of control.
It really is. And right now I feel like I'm in a lull because I don't have also like a Love is Blind or something on top of it. So when I don't have like a big extra thing like that, I feel like I'm just skating by, just la-di-da, just regular stuff. But when things come in, like if we add in 90 Day UK, or if we add in Love is Blind or Love is Blind UK, anybody that covers Love is Blind knows, like, you just better buckle down. Because it is, they draw up so many episodes on you so fast.
Right.
Yes.
And you know what? To be honest, that's why I can't cover it, because it's just too much too soon for my brain. It's just, it's a lot. But I'm such a fan of like Love is Blind psychologically, so interesting. All of these 90 Day things are so interesting. But the reason that we're talking about this right now is because I, over the weekend, watched a show on Netflix called Worst Ex Ever. So for those of you who have watched it, Worst Ex Ever was a season 2 about basically these people who are in relationships, and it's not just women. There's men that are victims too. I like that they feature all stories because all people are victims of domestic or can be victims of domestic violence. And I thought of you immediately because one of the main stories was about this guy, Jeffrey Paschal. Is that how you say his name? Paschal.
Paschal or Paschal? Yeah, it's Paschal. Yeah, so I don't know. It's an extra letter in there. I don't know which one to drop. Yeah.
Yeah, and honestly, I don't care about saying his name right because he's an absolute monster.
Yep.
if I'm being honest.
Who cares? Just Jeffrey.
Yeah, who cares? Jeffrey, Joffrey, what an idiot. So basically, he was sentenced to 18 years in prison for aggravated kidnapping, domestic assault, and interference with emergency communication regarding a violent incident with his ex-fiancée, Kristen Wilson. The attack occurred shortly before he appeared on the show in February 2020, and he was convicted in October 2021. So what is so fascinating, and I'm not going to, get into all the gory details because I mean, this show, if you are a survivor, it is going to be triggering. And I suggest you keep in mind your peace before you think about watching it. Don't watch it if you think it could be harmful. But he was I mean, he almost killed this woman. And she tried to call the police, and then he hung up, and then he came out and he was trying to tell the police that she was the one to I mean, it was just so crazy. And so I wanted to get your thoughts because I know you didn't watch Worst Ex Ever because I didn't give you the heads up about it. That's my B. So I'll just say that, my B. But like, you watched his season. And so I'm just so curious to know what you thought of him on the season of the show that he was on.
If I remember correctly, and 90 Day people can help me remember, but if I remember correctly, like he came on, like his the girl he was marrying was from Russia. Her name was Varya, and I do believe they're still married, and I do believe she stands by him still to this day. I mean, I'm like, girl, you've been here long enough. You can divorce him and still stay. Like,
right.
if you want to. And maybe you don't want to. I don't know. But what I remember from their season is that either right before or right when it started airing, all this news came out that he was, currently in this court case and would be going to court for this past domestic violence issue. And I think it was sort of like, oh, what was it? Was it like a big deal? Was it not that it matters either way? It could be a big deal, but it was sort of kind of
like, what level are we talking here?
What level are we talking here?
Yeah.
And is he really going to jail, or is it a misdemeanor? Is it a felony? As the season aired and people did more research, and this was way before like we have this internet sleuths like we do today that would have found all this shit out immediately. We were like, ew, like it's just getting worse and worse and worse the more we were finding out and we didn't like him in the season. It wasn't one of those people that we were like, oh, we'll see this person from seasons to come. He's got staying power. But the problem is, he's a good looking guy. And then, but again, I don't want to shit on TLC because it is my bread and butter and I love them. But sometimes they're not great about vetting people beforehand.
I mean, clearly, Mary Payne,
it happens a lot on TLC.
Right. I mean, it happens a lot, number one. And listen, I can appreciate that the networks,
yes,
they're not going to be perfect. And there's definitely going to be gaps and things that happen that shouldn't. But I can also appreciate, this is what you do. This is what we do. And so we want to be mindful of that. But the fact that this happened and then he basically fled this situation with her and went to 90 Day Fiancé like almost immediately after. It was so alarmingly concerning, the lack of vetting and awareness, because like you said, it wasn't like, on The Valley, for example, Michelle and Jesse were arguing about like she pushed his arm through a window or something like that, and he had her side and she had his side. This was like this man almost killed this woman because he is absolutely psychologically unhinged.
Yes. And by the way, I mean, all of that had happened. And so it would just be a quick little on the court system to see if he had any priors before coming on this show. And just to find he had a case pending that was of that magnitude seems like it'd be like, you know what? We're going to wait and put you guys on the next season until we see how this plays out in court. Like if it came out in court, like he did none of it, it was all made up. Then fine, we'll have you on the next season. That's kind of what I think. Sometimes I think that as we watch, and there's so many iterations of 90 Day, some people will seem like this is not a fit for this series. Like if this is the other way, this is not a fit because the person is not moving to Ireland or wherever. It's weird that they put them on this. And so then you think, okay, some shuffling had to be done. Maybe there was another couple that they had to 86 and they had this other couple and they just put it on even though it didn't match. So we think that happens a lot, and it could be the Jeffrey effect where, do you know what I mean? It could be that they were like, it could have been like, hey, we should have done that with this guy because he's fully in prison for all these crimes, right?
Oh, for 18 years. He was found guilty. I mean, again, if you watch the show, it is so beyond a shadow of a doubt that he abused this woman physically, emotionally, financially, every way humanly possible, and then used 90 Day Fiancé. But you're right. It's because he's good looking, which I don't find him good looking because I don't find human trolls attractive. But like,
I know, but just in general, if you saw him in person, you knew nothing, you would be like, that's
right. You'd be like, oh, he's okay. Yeah.
My measure is always like, if my friend was dating him, would I say to another friend, she's dating this guy, he's cute. That's always my measure. I'm always like, and that's what I used to tell my single friends when we were, getting up in age and people are single or divorced or whatever. I would say, when you look at that guy, you think, if your friend was dating him, how would you describe him? Not you.
Sure.
You would go, Michelle's dating a guy super cute. So why don't you think he's cute? Don't be an asshole. Go out with him. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, give somebody a chance.
Right.
You know?
But this is a good lesson because sometimes people who are attractive are literally unhinged. Like,
yes. Of course.
I mean,
look at Jax.
Well, exactly.
Yeah.
And I mean, to me, Danny, again, looks like a little troll, but, I guess
Cro-Magnon man with the overhanging head. Like, like how they do the thing, like where you go like the monkeys and then they stand and then they are the man and then they become man. Somewhere in the middle is Danny with that head. Yeah.
I love that. I love that, Mary Payne. So, it's wild that, to kind of wrap this up is that his fiancée is standing by him, which is very sad. But I also understand because this man is very convincing, if you don't know better, at trying to convince people this is just all a mistake. But the jury got it right. Everyone got it right. He will be in jail for 18 years. And
was the fiancée on it?
They showed clips of her, yes. They showed clips of her supporting him and talking to lawyers and doing all the things. And I just thought she's a victim too, because he had this pattern of doing this, getting women to support him, to say, no, all these things aren't true. And then he would abuse them and move on to the next. And it just got progressively worse and worse.
I wonder after this airs, if the current wife, the 90 Day Fiancé, Varya, I do wonder after this airs, if she sees it through a lens of like, Netflix, right? I wonder if then she'll divorce him.
Well, I hope so, because he deserves no support. He deserves no love or understanding or anything. I hope he rots in jail.
Okay. I'd like to know how you really feel, though.
Yes. Here's the thing. I knew today's podcast was going to be wild because I am in a very spicy mood. Grief is kind of making me have a lot of feelings.
Okay.
And so this is kind of what I've been, a little bit raw, a little bit just like, people better not look at me the wrong way. I might snap kind of thing.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to watch my P's and Q's.
No. Of course not you. I just do this with people like in the world, with people that I actually love and care about. I would rather die than be rude or mean. But like, for example, if I go out into the world and I'm in this mood and I see someone talking nasty to a child, I will intervene and be like, don't talk to this child like that. Don't do that.
You're Lala.
Do better.
You're Lala.
Basically.
Yeah.
Oh no. I don't know if that's a good thing, but
I'm gonna pop off on you. Pop. Lala.
I mean, literally, that's basically what I do. Or if there's like someone being rude to somebody, that's how I use my anger out in the world. But it gets me in trouble because, sometimes I need to mind my own business. But so before we get to the Lala, the Valley, Real Housewives of Rhode Island, all of that, there's been some interesting Bravo news that came from upfronts, which it's too much to even name, but there are a couple things that they outline that I wanted to share with people is that BravoCon is going to be in 2027. They're taking this year off, but in place of BravoCon, they're doing a Bravo Fan Fest in Babadu, Charleston. What do you think about that?
I think it sounds fun. I think, is it the weekend of October 9?
It's October 24th. So watch what happens
live. It's my birthday weekend.
It is? Are you going to go?
I'm going to make a little note. The reason I was asking is because myself and Amy Archer, another podcaster, we're doing a meetup thing in New York. And in my mind, I thought it was the same weekend and that was going to be my excuse to not go to Bravo Fan Fest. But now I don't have an excuse and it's my birthday weekend.
That is amazing. This was made for you then. Yeah. So it's going to be like a one-day thing on October 24th. And then Watch What Happens Live is going to film 2 live shows on the 22nd and 23rd. And so, I just was like, I don't think I'm going to go because that seems like that would be a lot, but it also seems like it'd be really fun. So I don't know, TBD. And if you go and if Mandy goes, maybe I will be forced to, I don't know, try to attend.
I've got Mandy on next week and I'll ask her because we do hang out at BravoCon together when we've seen each other. I'll ask her. But right now, it seems like one day, no.
Yeah.
Probably
maybe
not.
I should save my energy and my chutzpah for BravoCon 2027.
I think so.
I think BravoCon 2027 is my year. That's my hope. But we'll see. Listen, because my body tells me what's going on. So we'll see what she thinks in 2027.
She may say the week before, girl, you're good to go.
She may, and let us hope, because that would be the greatest joy of my life. So Real Housewives of Rhode Island is so good that it got an early season 2 renewal, which rarely happens.
Yeah.
Rarely. And
it's airing and they did it. Yeah.
Yes. I don't know if that's ever happened before. And so also Salt Lake City, Real Housewives of Potomac. And here's the thing that irritated me a bit. So RHONY and Real Housewives of New Jersey are full steam ahead, getting renewed. And I'm like, so we keep giving RHONY like 100 chances, but where is Miami? You know?
Lisa Hochstein currently about to like go to trial in June or July. Like, get Andy on a microphone. I need it.
That's right. I need it too. And I want to know. And you know what? Here's the thing, because I posted about being so mad that Miami wasn't coming back and it got a little traction. And Andy didn't reply to mine, but I saw a reply basically, you know, the new cast member, Stephanie Shoheed from Miami. Yeah. I could tell by your face, you're not a fan.
Not a fan.
She commented, oh, well, where was everyone at when it was time to watch? And it's like, bitch, you just got here. Don't be telling anyone anything about
also,
why
we all watched it. How would we know that it's great if we didn't watch it? I watched it.
That's exactly
watched every second of it.
We all watched it. So I just, you know what? I think our Miami girlies deserve better than they're getting. I just feel like Bravo, they have their favorites. Jersey is a favorite. RHONY is a favorite. Tamara's a favorite. Like, they have people and things that are favorites, and it just kind of bugs me.
The whole franchise of New Jersey, the whole franchise of New York, and Tamara.
Yeah, no, literally. I mean, don't you find it ridiculous that Tamara is the only housewife that is allowed to have this podcast where she talks about things that she shouldn't be talking about and still gets to be a housewife? It just doesn't make any sense to me. And they were spreading kind of misinformation about SSRIs and things like that, which is not a shock because that's the reason Tamara and I had a falling out, because I called her out on incorrect things that she said and she didn't like that. So
listen, anybody that goes on their podcast and says, I've met with a therapist one time and she diagnosed me with autism is not the brightest bulb.
Well, and that's what I called her on. And so what irritates me is, like, I call her on that. So now you're irritated with me. And your own therapist said that on Real Housewives of Orange County. She said it with her own mouth. But, you know, it's just like, I understand Andy has an affinity for some of these OGs. And I think that kind of speaks to, I don't know, that speaks to something. But let's get into Real Housewives of Rhode Island, because I know you're loving it. I definitely know that I'm loving it. And people in general are just like, this is amazing. You have an interesting approach when it comes to remembering who they are on Rhode Island. Will you share that?
So because I watched the first 2 episodes and I was like, where are we? Who are these people? What's happening with all the interchangeable faces? I don't know a Rosie from a Kelsey from Alicia. And I'd watch 2 episodes. And I don't like that. I like to be able to sort of look down at my phone, do other things. I don't want 100% in. I want to be 80% in when I watch it, right? And because I have to be 100% on all the other shows that I'm covering because I'm writing notes. So that's why I enjoy Bravo, because I can really just enjoy it. I wasn't enjoying Rhode Island because I couldn't understand the matching faces. So I went back, and as a good journalist that I am, I made a spreadsheet. I clipped their cast photo onto a spreadsheet and then put bullet points next to them, and I started over. After episode 2. I was like, I don't know. So I started over and I had all their little pictures. And then as I went and learned things, I was putting bullet points next to their faces. So then by the time I got to episode 3, I closed my laptop. I knew everything.
There you go.
I knew.
Journalism at its peak.
I'm just telling you, if you gave me a cast photo, it would take me a second because I should really study them.
I mean, we talked about on your podcast that for me, it kind of gives like Real Housewives of Salt Lake City season 1, where we couldn't tell apart Meredith and Lisa. And now,
which is crazy now. Yes.
Right, which is, I'm sure, how we will feel about Rhode Island in like a couple of seasons. We'll be like, how did we ever not tell these people apart? The funny thing to me is that Liz, she either looks exactly like Dolores or nothing like her, depending on the angle. And that is fascinating to me.
Yes, and because I've studied those two as well for my spreadsheet. Liz, I just see her as a more tan version of Dolores, but they both are beautiful women with incredible bodies and just obviously spend so much time and care on their appearance to even just go to the grocery store, much less for these, confessionals and stuff. Liz, I think is so funny. She's got that braided piece in her confessionals, which is like, it's literally like she got a headband and put it, because I think it's supposed to look like the braiding piece is like that they braided it and put it in her hair. But it's such a headband because not only is it like not in the right spot, it's like tilted backwards, like a tiara.
Oh, okay.
I find that fascinating. I find it fascinating that she walks that spotted cat on a leash.
Mary Payne, when literally the moment that I saw her walking that cat, I was in. I was so into this franchise. The moment I saw that, I was like, this is gold. This is just immediately gold.
Because then Alicia also has a big, beautiful house, I think. And then I got confused because then Alicia doesn't have the big, beautiful house. It was Liz that had the big, beautiful house on the water.
Right.
Then I got them confused.
I still have not figured out the houses yet.
Okay.
It's like the faces I'm figuring out. The houses, I'm still like, wait, whose shot of this is what? That I think is going to take us a while. But yeah, Liz lives in like that big, gorgeous house right on the water. And oh my God, it just looks absolutely magical.
And Kelsey was in the mansion with the salon in the bottom, and now she's been kicked out. But also he's just paying for a new apartment, so it's fine.
Yeah. And I mean, listen, like, I don't know. I don't hate on people like for if you want to be a sugar baby, which is kind of like the term, right? When you want someone to take care of you, and she was in this relationship for 10 years, she made an excellent point that if she were in a marriage, she would have gotten something out of it at the end. And so I don't have beef with that. But what I do have beef with is how Kelsey talks to people, and especially her and Rosie. They trigger the absolute mess out of each other. And every week, I feel like I'm looking for clues as to why. Like, what is this about for these women? Because what we're going to see on Sunday is they get into a physical altercation. Did you see the preview for that?
No, I did not see the preview
for
that.
Rosie is, and again, I can't tell whose house they're at because, like I said, I have house amnesia or whatever it is. I can't figure this out. Rosie, I think she was kicking out Kelsey, and Kelsey was like putting her hand on her, and then Rosie pushed her out the door and slammed the door in her face.
I did see that slamming of the door, and I was like, oh my God, she's going to like smash her fingers in the door. That's dangerous.
Yeah, and they did. Like I mean, there was like a light physical altercation, but still. And I'm like, what in the hell happened? Because this episode, they kind of like agreed to be cool. And then I just need to know what happens. How did that change?
I don't know why they don't like each other either. Any of the arguments that they've had, I don't quite understand where it's coming from. And I spoke with Gibson Johns this week on my show, and he sort of made a good point that they're bringing in all this stuff like so-and-so dated so-and-so's brother, and then this person used to date my cousin, and he was my husband's best friend. That all these things that, my husband used to date my sister. And it's like, it's too early for that because we don't know them. And when you're bringing in all these storylines, it's confusing. And that's why when they all sat out at that fire pit and some were arguing and some weren't in the smoke and all that, I zoned out because I didn't understand what they were arguing about.
Right.
It's too soon to understand the arguing.
I mean, that is such a good point because when you do have all these outside characters, so what you're talking about is Joellen's husband made out with her sister in like junior high. So they had like a little, maybe like second base makeout sort of thing.
Yes.
And Joellen was on Watch What Happens Live, and behind the bar was her husband and her sister.
Okay.
And Joellen was saying how the sister thought that the fans were going to love her, but the fans actually can't stand her because they don't like the weird flirty stuff that goes on between her husband and her sister.
Yes.
And I'm like, yes, nobody likes that. We have seen enough really crappy Bravo men treat women badly. We don't need any more of that. And they were still pretty flirty on Watch What Happens Live. And I'm just like,
it's weird.
It is weird.
That's
weird.
That's weird.
It's weird.
I don't like that. I wouldn't like my sister flirting with my husband. That's weird.
No. I mean, listen, you can't prevent if someone has like a silly makeout in junior high. It's not like they dated. It's not like they were a real couple. That's a different story.
Yes.
But how you're behaving now, and it makes me side-eye them because Joellen, the one interesting thing to me was that this episode of Rhode Island aired on Mother's Day, and it featured so much conversation about generational trauma and mother wounds that I just thought it was so fascinating that it was on Mother's Day. But Joellen essentially was saying that her mom, I'll give a synopsis because it was a lot of information. The mom sounds like what I will call a narcissistic mother. A narcissistic mother is a mother who sees the child as a source of jealousy and competition, especially a female child. Narcissistic mothers tend to use their child to prop up themselves for accomplishments, but at the end of the day, they don't really even know that child at all.
Boy, do I have a show for you.
Welcome to Plathville.
Welcome to Plathville.
I knew it.
You're describing Kim Plath. Continue.
Yeah, no, I know. Because people are always like, you have to watch it. And I'm like, bro, it's too far gone. I can't catch up.
It's not. I'm doing my third full rewatch, and I'm covering it on our Pink Shade Prime. I'm doing a full rewatch. I'm up to season 3. It was confusing because in real time we're in season 8, so I am a little. But what's crazy about that too is how much literally history repeats itself. In season 3, the exact same things are happening in season 8 regarding Kim Plath.
Right, because when you have a narcissistic mother, they refuse to accept and understand the way that they've hurt their daughter. They can't do it.
100%.
Emotionally unavailable, emotionally immature. They will never own their shit. So it's funny, I don't even know this show, but that's why it's continuing in season 8.
What about slack given to the eldest boy?
Oh, yeah. That's a very constant theme you see in families. Where the boy will get treated like a prince with a narcissistic mother, whereas the daughter will basically be like, Cinderella.
She kicked a daughter out at 16, another one she made fun of at her own wedding. I mean, she's really awful to the daughters, but then had all these children and had them like raising their younger children, and she herself was doing nothing.
Yes, and that is another characteristic of a narcissistic mother. They are the PTA moms. They are the snack moms. They are the moms who appear to do it all. And then they go home. And when a child says, I need your help, they say, I don't know what to tell you. I can't help you. This is too much for me. You're too much for me. And so what Joellen said, and this was the weirdest thing, her mom insisted that she was promiscuous because of how her body changed as she became a teen.
It's awful. She just assumed she was a whore because she had boobs.
Which is so
crazy.
Absolutely insane. But it speaks to this narcissistic mother of like, maybe she had jealousy over, I wish my body looked like that. Or I wish I got the attention that my child seems to get. And so then what she did was she painted Joellen. Because what these mothers will do is they will paint one child as a problem child. And that child is the scapegoat, is the person who is responsible for all the problems in the family when the problems in the family are because of the adults that are trickling down generational trauma.
Oh, my God. We are talking about Welcome to Plathville, and you just don't even know it. Okay, go ahead.
Yes, I'm sure I am, because these families, when they have these tendencies, they are so consistent. It is actually wild. Yeah. So
painful.
It's painful to watch. And so Joellen was sent away 3 times to programs that, by the way, I just have to like rage on this for a minute. Her first program her mom sent her to was a drug and alcohol rehabilitation when she had never done drugs or alcohol. But here's what pissed me off. Okay. So a mother like Joellen's mom is always going to try to make someone else the problem. That I get. But how the fuck did Joellen get to this place for a whole week? She said, I was there for a week and then they discharged me. What makes me irate about this is that is so unethical and abusive. It's not even funny. This child should not have gotten through the intake process. An intake process is what tells us what substances are you using, how much are you using, frequency of use. And if someone comes in and they don't meet the criteria, they can't and should not be admitted.
And they screen them too, like with pee and blood, they are screened.
Yes.
And so if they were just saying like her mother's like, she's lying, I know she's doing drugs or whatever, and they took the mother's word for it, that's one thing. But for a place to take you in intake to like take a bed from another person, they're going to make sure you really, I mean, I go get back injections for my back pain. And before they would even like take me as a patient, they did a saliva test to make sure I wasn't on something and I wasn't just drug seeking, right? Because you could go in there and be like, I have back pain. I'm going to need all the Percocet or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, no, I don't. I literally take Advil. Like I take nothing. But they were like, well, we're going to have to test you anyway. Right. They wouldn't even take me as a patient. That's ethically what you do.
Right. You don't just listen to a mother who says my child's out of control. Because guess what? A narcissistic mother is always going to claim her child's out of control. And it's really her. That's the problem. The call's coming from inside the house.
And the sister was more loved? Is that because the sister, she sent the sister away too, but not as much, right?
Yes. Well, I don't think the sister got sent away. And I think the reason for that, I addressed this on one of my posts, is that Joellen's sister was the good kid. She was the kid who didn't cause problems, who kept the peace, who, when Joellen talked about her pain with her mom, the sister said, and I swear to you, there are things that I hear that I don't have to take a note. It'll just stick in my brain. And the sister said, you have to just accept mom for who she is. And that's why the sister has no problems, because she's not pushing her mom like Joellen, who's saying, nope, I don't accept this. You hurt me. You traumatized me. You need to be accountable for it. Because Joellen's right. You don't need to accept that shit. Not at all.
She just, it sounds to me, and I think we're going to see Joellen like confront her mother and stuff. To me, it seems like the mom is never going to own it, much like Kim Plath, never say she's wrong, never say she did anything to traumatize her child. So I think the sister's whole thing is like, why are you wasting your breath? Why bother? Let's just live in harmony and not worry about what she did. Like we're adults now and let's get over it. And Joellen's like, no, I want to tell her what she did. It's not going to matter though. That's the sister's point. It's not going to matter.
But Joellen needs to do it anyways. Joellen's right. And the thing is, when you're recovering from trauma and you're reparenting yourself, because that's literally what it takes when you're raised by a parent with narcissistic traits and tendencies, you have to reparent. So Joellen has a litany of trauma because not only was she sent there inappropriately once, she was sent to another place a second time for 2 months, but the third place she was sent for a year. And then when I found out that the insurance stopped paying, so mom gave over partial custody to the state, I was like, oh my God, disgusting. So it's like Joellen's wounds. It's not just that she was let down by her mom, but she, like so many teens, are also let down by the system. Who continues the abusive and unethical behavior because she didn't belong at that place for a year. She said there were predators, there were addicts, there were all this stuff that she was literally traumatized because she was sent away.
Yeah, it's awful. It's a wonder she's surviving and thriving and has a wonderful career. And, you know, it's a wonder when somebody can come out of that kind of abuse. And I think somebody said the third place was the same place Paris Hilton went, and that could have been an internet rumor. But somebody said it was that same place, which we know that wasn't good. You know?
Well, right. And in fairness, I read Paris's book. I have it sitting here on my shelf.
Oh,
and
nice.
I did a podcast about it because she wrote about her trauma from these places that she was taken to. And so I did an entire podcast episode about what I called hell camps. These hell camps that parents say, my child's out of control, but what they really mean is just get them out of my hair and get them away from me. And then there will be people, adults, who are happy to take money from the government or insurance or whatever and put a child in an inappropriate situation, which is not only unethical, it's abusive. But there are plenty of quote unquote treatment programs in the past, less now, but I'm sure they still exist. Okay, so listen, we got to talk about Rulla and Brian.
Wow.
I know.
It's rough.
Okay. It is rough. So I will let everybody know what's going on with Brian is that 6 months ago, after the show wrapped, Rulla went to the Rhode Island State Police and said, I believe that my husband has a tracker on my car. Police found the tracker, confirmed that it was the tracker that he placed there, removed it, and arrested Brian. Okay. Now, my one piece that I have to say here is that intimate partner stalking is one of the most significant indicators for future homicide when it comes to domestic violence situations. So intimate partner stalking, number one, and number two is strangulation. If someone is strangling somebody, that is a predictive factor in homicides later on. So the reason I'm sharing this is because I need people to listen to keep themselves safe. And what I found so disgusting is that Brian went on Watch What Happens Live and he sat in the front row of the audience. Did you see that?
I did. And first of all, I'm sure a lot of people are like, oh my God, Rulla is so dumb and this, that, and that. No, I mean, I believe she's like a CPA and she's a certified financial planner. She's not dumb. She's very, very smart. And she's staying with him probably for the kids, probably for something that happened with the prenup. But oh, it's rough. I really hope it's going to be a season 2 divorce. That's what I'm really hoping for.
Let us pray, because if this man comes back, I can't. And here's something interesting. I follow someone on social media. She's a therapist who also covers Bravo because, I got to support my peeps.
Yeah.
And she posted a reel about the abuse that Rulla was suffering and like, why is no one talking about it? And Rulla reposted the reel.
Good.
Yeah. So my hope, and why I'm sharing that, is that my hope is that Rulla is starting to see and hear the feedback from people. Because sometimes when you're in an abusive or domestic violence situation, it takes coming out of yourself and hearing like some feedback from other people to understand that like, oh, this is not just in your head, because Brian is, I mean, literally like a solar system of red flags. I mean, he just absolutely is. And what's wild to me is like Rulla, there you go. She's got the red flag.
My red flags. Yeah.
I've
always
need
got
one
it
of
handy.
those. Mary Payne, I need one. I got to get one for me too.
Amazon, they come in like a 12-pack.
Okay, I'm going to get one. So I have my red flag. Thank you. You've inspired me, MP.
Yes.
So when Rulla is sick and she keeps not showing up to things, I said on Instagram, I'm like, she is sick with a virus named Brian.
Let me tell you something about that sickness. You and I have both been through many traumatic medical things, you more so than me. But I have been through a situation where I had MRIs and CAT scans and was in the hospital and they couldn't figure out what was wrong with me. And let me tell you what, I didn't look like that. I looked like I'd been hit by a disgusting, sweaty truck is what I looked like.
Yeah.
You did? Yeah, I didn't look like fresh as a daisy, somebody feeding me tea in the bed. I looked like a nurse helping me over to the potty is what I look like.
No, literally, like when I am in my chronic illness weeds, you would be shocked to see how I look like a troll.
Yes, I look like I've been dragged behind a car and then doused in sweat. I was like, this, or your hair is slicked back because you can't shower. I mean,
so gross.
I was looking at her. I was like, okay, so she maybe has on half the amount of makeup as normal. But she's in her robe. She may as well have had on like a feathery robe and like fuzzy slippers. It was like, darling, like, come on now. You're sick because you don't want to leave this man alone. Because you know that that's what I think. She doesn't want to leave.
I think that's true. But I also think that, so mental health issues are real and physical health issues are real. It's all real. But one thing is when you're experiencing mental health issues, you do experience physiological, symptoms. And I believe that Rulla, her nervous system is so exhausted by trying to pretend that she's calm, cool, and collected, that I think she is sick, but she's sick of the virus named Brian and she's sick of the situation that she's in. And that's why they can't find anything, because the symptoms are real, but it's coming, I believe, from a psychological place due to this relationship.
I had many years of seeing many doctors for my chronic stomach pain. I had stomach pain every single day for years. And this was prior to 2014 when my husband got sober. So I mean, I'd gone to a specialist at Johns Hopkins in Baltimore trying to figure out the source of my stomach pain. Do you know what the source of my stomach pain was? My alcoholic husband.
Your alcoholic husband, girl.
Yes.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And really, and he's, sober 11 years, thank God.
Yes.
But that was the problem.
Yep.
And they kept saying, do you feel a lot of stress? Like, I know you're in the process of building this house. Does that make you stressed? I go, no, I'm so excited. Like, I love all the meetings to talk about the knobs and the door pulls. Yeah, I know. Yeah. What do you mean? No. And they're like, do you have stress in your life, with your spouse? I'm like, no, I mean, nothing to see here. What are you talking about? And I just I didn't put it together.
So would you say the denial that you had led to physical pain that you didn't understand where it was coming from?
Absolutely. I had no idea that's why my stomach hurt.
And that's exactly what I'm saying about Rulla. I think her denial about the problems. Now, listen, your husband's a great man. And as Ramona would say, caduce to him on his sobriety. Because
caduce. we're coming up on, 12 years, I guess, right? 2014 to 2026. Yeah, we're coming up on 12 years in August. Yay for my sweet husband. Yes.
Literally. I mean, because he's a wonderful man who had a terrible disease. He's, it's not something you get over or you just like go into remission from. You and I talk about that all the time.
Yes.
But I think that to that point, Rulla is like, there's so much going on with her body because of this man, and
she's heightened all the time.
Yes.
That's what I felt. I was at a heightened level all the time. I never let my guard down. I never relaxed. I never did anything other than go, kids, work, protect, deflect, don't look over here. I just was in a constant state of heightened. Right. I really didn't know it until I wasn't in it anymore.
Right. Because
and so I think that's what Rulla has. Yeah.
Right. Your body got so used to it that it was like your norm. And then it isn't until you're in a safe scenario and your body calms down that you're like, oh my gosh, how did I live like this?
Right.
Yes, I do hope that Rulla gets there, but I will continue to keep my foot on this man's neck forever. So don't worry about that. So speaking of terrible men, let's talk the Valley. Let's talk Danny Darko.
Jesus, take the wheel. Speaking of alcoholic men. Okay.
Mary Payne, preach. What do you got to say about that?
Okay. So this last week when I did my episode about Bravo, we were just kind of talking about, oh God, Danny, he's terrible. He's not like so great helping with the kids. And he's the one that was pushing for all these kids. And now he won't even like put a baby to sleep without yelling at his wife who's just trying to like shove a sandwich in her mouth. He's horrible. And then this week, I wrote Gibson, who I recorded with last week. I go, just when we thought it couldn't get worse, last night's episode slapped me in the face so hard. I was rewinding. I was like, is he kidding? Is he kidding? Is he kidding? He wasn't kidding. And of course, you have the added stupidity of reality shows where they're dressing them up in costumes, just like you remember on Salt Lake City when they're all dressed up like George Washington at the Tea Party and then fighting. Do you know what I mean? Like sometimes it's just an added level of stupidity when they're in a costume. Right. But the fact that Cro-Magnon man was yelling at his beauty king wife about his wig. And I liked how Lala, she stood back and the camera got her. She's listening, then she's stepping back. And let's all remember, we can all remember Lala being a horrible person forever. But she is sober. She's dead.
7 years.
Dead
7
sober.
years. Yep.
Coming into this being like, excuse me, sir. You know?
I said I've never been so happy to see Lala because for all of her stuff, she's 7 years sober and is going to clock every single alcoholic red flag of Danny, number one. And I'm not calling him an alcoholic. I'm saying, clearly he misuses alcohol. I just have to be mindful of what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is because of her addiction, she can clock that like with your red flag, right? And the second thing she will always do is stand up for a woman when a man is being verbally abusive. And let me be clear about something. Danny was being verbally abusive. Full stop.
Horrible.
Full stop. And on Watch What Happens Live. So I watched Watch What Happens Live and Lala was on. And she said, to your point, Mary Payne, to what you just said, is that she asked Danny, like off camera, are you acting right now or are you being serious? Because like you, it was like, this seems too egregious and ridiculous to be serious. She literally asked him if he was acting. And then it was like, no, I realized he wasn't. And what I was pissed off about is why was Lala the only person in that whole house who's listening to this and then is the only one saying anything? That's what pissed me off too.
But what she said was, because, she's new in the group. She's around, but she's like new on the cast. And what she said was, I've heard of this dark side, Danny. I've heard he gets aggressive when he drinks. And I know because I've been aggressive when I drink or whatever. And for her to be like, I've heard about this, and then I just really couldn't believe it when I was seeing it with my own eyes.
Right.
And when but it always surprises me, and this is Housewives too, and Shannon Beador's a great example. You get called out for your drinking, and then you go on camera and keep doing it. Like, especially for somebody as controlled as Danny and Mia are, you would think they would be like, Danny, you can't drink the whole season. He would be like, that's fine.
Well, guess what? What does that tell you? That he doesn't have control over it.
He has no control over it.
Which is another red flag of addictive behavior.
Everything he's doing, everything he was doing, the way he was speaking to her. And then at the end, she goes, well, you shouldn't have been talking to me that way. And he goes, I will. And she said, no, you won't. And he goes, I will. And I was like, this is a drunk person. This is obviously a drunk person.
Oh, yeah.
obviously a drunk person. And then also when they went to the theme park and she was like, and I'm telling you, with that heightened nervous system of trying to perform, the minute that the baby pushed away and she goes, now I'm so excited because we're going to go on the rides and we don't get to spend time together. And he's like, you're being performative. That's a drunk person because he dropped what their plan is to seem perfect.
Right.
And he was like, you're being performative. She's like, no, what do you mean? Don't you remember? This is the fun me. Don't you remember? I'm saying it out loud. So you'll remember the cues that were fun. But he's drunk and he didn't care.
No, and I call him Sir Slurs a lot. I can't get it out right now, but that's my name for him is Sir Slurs a lot.
That's so good.
I haven't said that on social media because sometimes people give me a hard time about being like, I'm funny. I can't help it. My brain does this. I come up with funny things. What do you want from me? Like, I'm a therapist, but I have a sassy personality. Yeah.
Okay.
So Sir Slurs a lot was just like so slurry. And it's like, you're clearly intoxicated. You clearly can't control your drinking because people who use substances, period, whether it's alcohol or other things, when they're doing that recreationally, they can put it down and walk away and do what they need to do if they don't have an addictive problem. But that's clearly not the case for Danny. And so Nia, I could immediately tell, was doing I talked about on social media, it's called a fawn response, which is a trauma response where when people are starting to get angry and scary, we try to please them. We try to control. And I wonder if you ever had to do this with your husband while he was drinking.
A lot.
You have to,
a lot. And that's why I felt for her because I felt that's what she was doing. Was like, yay, now we're going to have fun. But he was so annoyed. And then that whole thing when they were going on the safari and she's like, you need to help the babysitter. Are you going to make her carry the baby, carry the backpack, carry the stroller? And then you see like Luke bending over to help her. And then she's like, when she said to him, I need you to get in tune with me. He goes, I am. She goes, I'm saying the baby is hot. Find something in the backpack to fan the baby. You're not in tune with me.
Right. Right.
But then later on, she did it again where she started to see him turning dark side Danny, as it were. And she started to be like, it's okay. Don't talk to me like that. It's all right. This is going to be fun. We're having fun. It's supposed to be fun. And every time I see her doing that,
it triggers you because your nervous system recognizes what she's doing.
Yes.
And guess what? So does mine. And so
she's taking care of 4 kids at home. 4.
No, I'm sorry, she has 5 because Danny.
5 kids.
Including Danny. Yeah. Because literally, not only is Danny the size of a child, but he also has the attitude of one. When he was like talking to her so abusively, I was like, sir, like I have had it with these men. I've just really, really had it. And I think that his big beef is that he's not getting enough attention from his wife because she's attending to his children. He doesn't want a partner. He wants a pageant girl. He wants an attendant. He wants a servant. That's what he wants. He doesn't want a partner. And I just feel like, what I can't stand about Danny is he has this like church lady persona. He's like, I'm a church guy, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, but this is how you're going to act? Yeah, sure. Okay. Act like this and then go to church on Sunday like you're a good person. Please. I just cannot stand using religion to deflect shitty behavior. Just don't do that. Don't do it.
What's your pastor going to think when he sees this on TV? And that's another reason why, it's a real problem for him is because before when they were kind of putting up this facade and everybody called him on it, it's a facade that you guys are trying to be like perfect and all this. He's unable at this point to keep it up.
Right.
Right.
The mask has fallen.
Yes.
The mask has fallen.
And he's trying to support, 4 kids and a wife. And this is all what he wanted. He likes to be 3 under 3, 4 under 4. And all this, like, look at us in our Christmas card picture. We're perfect. And I remember my husband saying that one time to our therapist, back in the day, like, I'm tired of like putting the Christmas card picture like everything's perfect. And I was like, who said everything was perfect? And you think somebody looks at a Christmas card and thinks everything's perfect? But like his idea was he was trying to pretend everything's perfect. And to me, I was like, wow, we really see that differently.
Right.
But for Danny, I think in his mind, if we do this perfect snapshot of this gorgeous, gorgeous, perfect wife and these gorgeous, perfect children, and I'm a voice actor and I make all the money so much that I could buy a house in Santa Clarita, that everything is perfect, but he's not looking inward. I really do hope sometimes that these people see themselves on TV and go, whoa, I'm a bad dude.
He
like
won't.
That.
No, he won't.
And we all hate to say it. We all hate to say it, but like say it with me, yell it from the background. Janet was right.
And That's the thing. I will argue this to the death is that people just don't like Janet, which I get, right? She can be harsh. She can be rude. She can be, gossipy, a lot of these things. But Janet was 1,000% right. And based on how terrible Danny behaves, I don't even think it's inappropriate for her to keep talking about it, if I'm going to be honest. I said last week, I think she needs to let it go. And this week, I completely changed my mind. I'm like, if this were me, if I were on a show with this man, I would keep my foot on his damn neck. And I think that's what Janet's trying to do. I get why people don't like it, but I think you're exactly right. She was right. And now we get it.
She was right. And now we get it. And it will be interesting to see if Kristen who was such a big, Danny and Nia, if Kristen could see this, because the way that like Danny and Nia are handling it, Danny especially, so wrong. The way Luke is handling Kristen, we haven't liked it the last couple of episodes, but what we saw this week was the two of them actually sitting down, saying how they feel, and her saying, but you keep saying you can't be in my body and that irritates me. And he's like, I don't know what else to say. And the way that they sat on that swing and actually spoke to each other normally, with feeling and understanding and listening, was really nice to see.
It was beautiful, and I swear to you, it gave a little bit of CPR to like the last amounts of serotonin left in my brain after this week. It was just like a little CPR for those serotonin molecules. And I was just like, okay. The difference between Luke and Danny is Luke is a guy who's a first-time father and he's having a hard time. He's having a hard time adjusting. He's didn't like expect all the feels. And I think that's just because like intellectualizing what it is to be a parent versus doing it, it's two different things. And, so like he's in it and I think he's struggling. But when I saw both of them put their walls down, I was grateful because they both desperately needed and deserved to be heard. And Luke's point, like the thing about Kristen, which I kind of realized is that regarding postpartum, last week I did an episode about postpartum mental health with one of my friends, Kristen, and it was a really good episode because it's so important to talk about postpartum mental health. Like Kristen in this episode, she talked about the fact that she had pre-existing anxiety, and pre-existing anxiety will create like 1 in 5 women will develop postpartum anxiety because of that pre-existing condition. And what I think was happening is Kristen was having analysis paralysis about should I leave or should I not? And she just needed Luke to step in and make that decision. But he was so afraid to tell her the wrong thing that he couldn't give her the validation. And I think her anxious brain was just like, it just completely like snapped.
Like at the dinner when she was like, I feel like, should I want to go? And he was like, yeah, you should go. Yeah. And then when they got back, for Luke to say to Kristen, this is what won me back over with Luke. He doesn't expect Kristen to not have these moments of snapping, which is like so fair. What he does expect is apology and owning it afterwards, which is like, yeah, you have to have that because we're always going to make mistakes, right? You've been with your husband for a long time. I've been with mine for a long time. We're going to be assholes. We're going to get in fights. We're going to screw up. It's what we do after it that matters. We can't be perfect. And so I think what he's saying to Kristen, and she's right to hear it, is that I understand you get stressed. And because of that, you take things out on me. She's like, she is worried that he'll leave. And so she almost like that anxiety makes her push him away a little bit more. And all he's saying is just please apologize and own it after. And she was like, I appreciated that. She was like, yeah, that's more than fair because it really is. Because if she continues to do that, their relationship will disintegrate because it's making Luke feel unloved and unheard when it's really Kristen's anxiety. Because for a lot of folks with anxiety, myself included, my anxiety comes out as anger and irritability, right? So when we joked earlier in the show initially, and I was like, I'll snap on someone in public, that's how my anxiety presents, right? I tend to become like the protector of children, the purveyor of people who need help. And then I snap on people and it's like, well, that's not cool because that's not my job. And I think that's what's happening with Kristen. Her anxiety is leading her to be irritable, to be angry, and to have outbursts, but it comes from a real psychological place. Did you guys discuss last week that Sheena had that postpartum OCD?
So I've talked about that before.
I'd never heard of that.
Really?
Yeah.
So Kristen did touch a little bit on, we didn't talk about Sheena necessarily, but we did talk a little bit about postpartum OCD because OCD is kind of under the umbrella of anxiety disorders. And there's a lot of different ways that anxiety can present based on just people's personalities and environment and genetics and all of that. But yes, she was someone who talked about in her book, it was really, really horrible. And until she was able to get it treated, it was absolutely paralyzing.
Okay.
So I think the reason why it's important for us to talk about this is because women need to understand, especially with the all-out assault right now on mental health by RFK, who is another person I will keep my foot on his neck that forever. Because we're trying to give women less resources is not the move. It's not it.
Right.
And so I think that these are two examples of women who are deserving better than what they're getting. And they probably weren't dealing with practitioners who could recognize it. Like Kristen's therapist told her, who cares? It's just 15 minutes out of your day. But she completely missed the whole point underneath of it all. And so I'm just hoping that anyone who's struggling with this is actually getting some help, because you don't have to live like this. Help is available. There are resources. Unfortunately, sometimes finding them is like digging for gold, but you just have to do it.
Yeah, I think that, the Valley, the season's getting a lot of pushback or whatnot for being too dark. But I'm like, this is the reality of their lives. They're in their 30s. Some are going into their 40s. This is the reality of your life. You maybe have a spouse, you have a girlfriend, you have a fiance, you are married, you maybe have little kids. Like, this is the reality of the space that they're in. And some of it is pretty dark,
Yeah.
Can
I
be.
mean, of
Can be rough.
course, it's like when you're talking about postpartum mental health and abuse, like, yeah, that is going to be dark. And so it's like, I understand why people don't want to watch it, because to your point, if you're a survivor of trauma, it is going to trigger you. Your nervous system is going to be like, recognize it and say, ooh, I don't feel safe even watching this. So that's why I just like to use my voice about it, because none of it's normal. Luke goes, part of me thinks this is normal and part of me thinks this is insane. And I'm like, he's right on both accounts. The insanity is normal.
I did love how they sat down and talked. And I will be very interested to see with the Danny and Nia how it progresses through the rest of the season. Is it going to be addressed again? Danny, you obviously act a certain way when you drink, and it's a problem. And I could not believe last night he got even worse than last week. And then that's why I was like, is this a joke? He's wearing a plastic blonde wig from the dollar store. And I was like, trim it, cut it, make me look pretty.
I mean, literally, it was like getting a 3-year-old ready. Get me ready, mommy. Everyone's already ready. You're not doing a good job. You weren't. I mean, it's literally like a 3-year-old having a tantrum. So
it was crazy.
It was crazy.
But,
so
shout out to Lala. Yeah.
Shout out to Lala. I've never been so happy to see that woman in my life. And for this, I think she's going to be great on the Valley, because let's face it, Nia needs an ally and an advocate. Because the one thing I will say is Luke and Kristen need to get off Danny's jock and understand who this man is and stop supporting him. Because I don't like supporting this kind of, if you love Nia, then you should not support Danny's behavior. Be a friend. Be a friend to your friend. That's how I feel. Well, my goodness. Mary Payne, anything else that stuck out to you from the Valley that we have not yet talked about?
Well, I will say that scene with Lacey and Michelle, obviously you could tell every single person there knew exactly what they were talking about. It had been agreed upon not to be brought up on camera. But then Lacey did it, which is like breaking their little code of there's always things they're not going to put up on camera, which was that a window was broken in a physical altercation between Michelle and Jesse. Right. Now, according to Michelle, he was kind of drunk and bumped it with his elbow. And according to him, she lunged across the bed and threw him into a window like Keanu Reeves in that movie, The Matrix. Like that, that was how he described it. And she was like, he was kind of drunk and I pushed him off of me and he bumped it with an elbow. I mean, not only it's like they're in two different rooms of the house when this story happened. So somewhere the truth is in the middle. Right. But it was years ago, and it was when they were going through a divorce and they had agreed to leave it in the past. But Lacey bringing it up, you could tell, I mean, Zach looked right at the camera like, yeah. you know? Like, oh. And Michelle, I love Michelle. She's like, what are you talking about? What are you saying? I cannot talk to you. You know, she's such a robot. But I also liked how the two of them came together
at the end
and had resolution. Michelle's like, we need to talk and I'll go first. And I liked how Lacey said, I'm still bothered by when we first started dating and you commented on my looks.
Which is more than fair.
More than
fair. Yeah, don't do that. I mean, I understand Michelle was angry and annoyed, but we shouldn't be picking on women's looks. Lacey was right about that.
She was right. And Michelle said, I would never do that. I'm really sorry. So I really liked that they had an adult conversation. They can agree to disagree. They can agree to be in the same room. Michelle's so happy to get Jesse off her back that she's like, please, somebody else take this man. Right?
Yeah.
And now maybe she's dating Dr. Dre. I don't know.
Allegedly. I know.
Allegedly.
I need Andy and a camera now on that immediately. Like, I need,
because they haven't filmed the reunion, so it's going to have to be asked.
It's going to have to be. If not, I will submit a question myself. I will be like, tell us about Dr. Dre immediately. So the last thing I'll say regarding the point about Lacey, because here's the thing, like with Danny and Luke and Kristen, there's so much going on that sometimes I have to ignore the other storylines because I can't do 100 slides. It's just too much. But the thing, I think Michelle and Lacey were both very mature, and especially Lacey. It's like I'm not sure about her, but I love the way she holds Jesse accountable. I love the way she holds him accountable, even if she's upset with him or he's upset with her. Like, she just seems good like that. But the one thing Michelle said that annoyed me is Michelle was like, no, don't trigger me. And that I just have to say, being triggered is our responsibility and nobody else's. Trauma isn't our fault, but it is our responsibility to deal with it. And so going around expecting people to not trigger us is ridiculous.
Yes.
And Michelle needs to get over that.
Yeah. And who could know what? I mean, Lala said, I'm triggered because I've been through a situation where I had an ex that spoke to me this way. She explained it. You know, I can't stand by and listen to another woman get spoken to like this. And here's why. You know, now we know Lala's been through a lot of, AA and therapy and everything, and she's got all the talk. So I agree with that. I agree. My co-host Keisha used to always talk about Michelle. She was like, she's just going around crying and expecting people to know why she's crying. I was like, I like Michelle. She's such a little robot. I love her.
I love her too. And I just think, but it's so funny what you just said about Lala is that being triggered, one of the things I wrote on Instagram is that people use, like, thanks to the TikTokification of mental health, people talk about being triggered in inappropriate ways. Like, being triggered is a physiological neuropsychiatric experience, right? Mind-body experience. And I want to say you can tell that Lala was really triggered because her nervous system recognized it, and the tears and the hyperventilating slowly, and she didn't do it in front of the camera. She went in the other room. And Lacey also won me over when she helped Lala ground, because one of the last things, one of the last things that I'll say about this is that I will admit this week has been absolute hell for me, just dealing with my grandfather and him being in hospice. And I've had a couple of panic attacks, some of the worst that I've had in my life thus far. And what I appreciated about those experiences now, and then seeing what happened on the Valley, is that grounding and deep breathing are the ways to get yourself out of that panic response and get yourself grounded to the point where you can deal with the anxiety in ways that are healthier. So
I liked that moment between the two of them too. I didn't know what it was. I mean, I understand she was explaining it to her. But I did like that. I liked the moment where she was like, let me help you, Yeah.
And Lacey put her hand on her chest, which is also really helpful for grounding when people are having panic attacks. And so they both really did the good work. And that is how you can tell that Danny is real deal scary, because Lala, that wasn't acting. That wasn't fake. Her nervous system told us everything we need to know about Danny. And I suggest we listen.
No, not acting. He's God.
Mary Payne, thank you so much for being here today. This has always been so much fun, but please tell everybody, you have so much going on, so many shows, you do so much. So please tell everybody what you have going on, where they can find you, and all that good stuff.
Well, you can find me wherever you listen to this podcast. Just find me wherever you're looking for podcasts. It's called Pink Shade. I cover everything 90 Day. If there's a 90 Day on, I'm a covering it. We do TLC Tuesday, which is always the main show. We do the secondary show, currently A Single Life, rolling into The Last Resort. That's over on the paid feed. I cover Love After Lockup. Right now it's off. So we're covering Neighbors, which is that Netflix show about the bad neighbors.
Yes.
Yes, that's crazy.
Oh, that's good. Yes,
so we're
covering,
I watched that. Yeah, we're covering that just until Love After Lockup comes back at the end of the month. Like you said, I cover Bravo on Thursdays, and I cover the best show on television, Welcome to Plathville. And when I talked to Ross Matthews this week, I convinced him to start watching Welcome to Plathville from season 1, episode 1. Yes.
Well, listen, you have already given me a task that I have to watch Ladies of London. So you have to pick one. It's either Ladies of London or it's Welcome to Plathville. I can't do both. So you
do Ladies of London. It's more current. Do Ladies of London. Welcome to Plathville it might take you 1 year to get through the whole thing just because you're going to have to do it slow.
Right.
But
That's
you as a therapist will be so beyond fascinated. So beyond. But Ladies of London, there's so many fascinating. Yeah, do Ladies of London. It's current and it's fun.
Yeah. Okay, so everyone listening to this, basically when I was on her podcast, she was like, no, you're doing this. And I was like, well, okay. And people do love it. So I'm like, I guess I will have to. So what we're going to do is when I watch it, I will have you back on and we will discuss it.
Love it. I loved it so much. So much.
Yeah.
So but I just want people to follow me on social media. That's my big thing. Pink Shade Pod on Instagram. And then, we've started this YouTube thing and it's very important for people to subscribe. That's Pink Shade on YouTube. You never even have to look at it. Just subscribe to it. That's all I need. We just need numbers to go up. I'm out here begging for Instagram followers, begging for YouTube subscribers. I feel like that's my full-time job.
It's my full-time job too, because it's frustrating. People don't realize how, if you're going to take in our free content, that's the least you can do for us.
Yes, please.
So please go follow Mary Payne at Pink Shade Pod. I will also, this video will come out on YouTube and I will tag you guys so we can collaborate on that.
Yes,
but yes, please follow her, follow me. It really does matter. It makes such a difference. And also, I would request that people give a lovely 5-star review because
that's always so nice for podcasters you love. Yes.
It is. We really appreciate it. It makes such a difference. So for today, thank you, Mary Payne, for being here. Thank you, everybody, for listening. I am so excited to talk to you again and more. So for now, sending love to you and yours, and ta-ta for now.